here. Turning on the recording. And just to clarify, are you guys seeing the questions interface on my screen? Okay. All right, so let me introduce everybody. I am joined by Forrest Cassidy from leadferret.com. And Forrest, I wasn't sure if Stella was joining us or not this time, but welcome, Forrest.
That's me today.
Okay. And as I said earlier, my name's Craig Klein. I'm the CEO of Sales Nexus, and we're also joined by Michael Halper of Launchpad Solutions. Welcome, Michael. And Michael's actually a customer and a user of LeadFerret, and so he's going to talk with us a little bit about his experience here in a few minutes.
Yeah, Craig, just to give a real high-level overview of kind of what the webinar is about today, or a lot of what we're going to be covering today, because we may have some very sort of new or green attendees. Basically, LeadFerret and Sales Nexus have formed a partnership to make prospecting more efficient. And what that basically, how that basically works is LeadFerret is a free source of data, B2B data, including emails. And many of you are saying, of course, yes, I know that. I'm a user, a long-time user of LeadFerret, so this is more for people who are new to Sales Nexus. And then Sales Nexus is a CRM and email marketing solution together. So we have created the solution whereby you can take data, 500 free records a month if you're a Sales Nexus user, from LeadFerret, transfer it in a few clicks over into Sales Nexus. And if that sounds sort of like magic, we're going to actually show you today how to do that. And then you can run your marketing campaigns and sales campaigns in Sales Nexus using their CRM and email delivery solution combined into one. And Michael is on the call with us today because he's been doing exactly that for a few months now, using LeadFerret and Sales Nexus together, as maybe some of you are on the call today as well. And he is going to sort of share some of his experiences. And by the way, if this is the second or third time you've attended a webinar with Sales Nexus and LeadFerret, there's still going to be a lot of value on today's call. There's some new features that we've added that we'll be showing you how to use, and we're going to be going over sort of some strategic approaches to using LeadFerret and Sales Nexus together as well, not just the mechanical steps involved in transferring data from one to the other. So I just want to make sure that everybody who's on the call sort of understands the overlying premise of the call. And again, Craig, thanks for having me on, and Michael, thanks for joining us as well.
Sure. Yeah, as Forrest said, what we're going to try and do today is show you the solution real briefly, and then also talk about easy ways to get started with creating content-based email campaigns that really highlight qualified prospects for your sales team. So we're going to get into that here shortly. Okay, so that said, let me introduce Michael, and what he's going to do is tell you a little bit about his experience with the solution. But first, Michael, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about the business you're in, and then how you've leveraged the solution.
Yep, thanks, Craig. So hello, everybody. Just to quickly let you know who I am, what we do. We basically do appointment setting for other businesses. We focus on the B2B space, and really all we really do is focus on generating leads, right? So for the past, we were using Salesforce for a couple of years, and I met Craig, and we were having some challenges with Salesforce, and then shortly after meeting Craig, we moved over to Sales Nexus. Were a lot of improvements there on the CRM side. What Craig always mentioned to me about LeadFerret, and I was kind of resistant to make a change because I was currently using Hoovers at the time. I don't know if you all are familiar with Hoovers, but it's like more of a business directory, right, where I could basically go to a build a list type of feature and plug in my prospect details, location, business, industry, size, and I would get a list of either contacts or a list of businesses. I would then set up that list in my CRM, and I would assign part of that list to my telesales resources, and we would then make calls to those businesses and to try to generate leads. And some challenges, I guess Hoover's worked okay. The data was I guess okay in terms of being current or not. But one of the challenges that I experienced was that the list did not have email addresses, and it was a bit challenging or time-consuming to actually get the data out of Hoover's. So we were doing what we basically do is we would make calls and collect email addresses from the contacts when we were talking to them if we weren't able to schedule an appointment. And in talking with Craig about LeadFerret, I realized that LeadFerret had email addresses with the contacts. So I went in, tested out LeadFerret, and it just seemed like building the list and getting the data was easier on the LeadFerret side. And then all the lists that I was producing, all of the contacts had email addresses. So that allowed us to kind of change our operation, and instead of really making calls first and then getting email addresses, we basically switched the sequence of our lead generation activities to where now we were sending out emails first through SalesNexus. And then basically, the great thing that I like about SalesNexus over what we were using Salesforce for is all the email automation and the email marketing capabilities all in one place. We were basically able to send out an email to a list, and now what we're able to do is we're able to make calls based on who opens and who clicks inside the email. So we're able to sort of pre-qualify who we call and who we talk to based on that data, which is in the CRM. So now our calls go to better contacts, and the end result is we're able to produce more leads, and we're scheduling more appointments with this change. It's also really neat with the integration between SalesNexus and LeadFerret that with Hoover's, it'd take me a little while to get the list, and I have to upload it to whatever CRM I was using. Now with the setup, I'm able to build the list in LeadFerret and then just click a button, and then my contacts are already in my CRM. Then I can quickly assign those contacts to one of my email campaigns that I've set up in SalesNexus, click a button, and then what we do is we do 500 emails at a time per call or per project. So I load up those 500 contacts, click send, the emails go out, and then those notifications start hitting my callers' task list, and then they're just working away making the calls. And it's really been, I tell you, from our standpoint, it's really more than doubled the amount of appointments that we're generating, which which is basically doubling our results. So we're really happy.
That's great to hear, Michael.
Yeah, it's really great. He's really taken advantage of the full breadth of capabilities of both systems. So let's talk a little bit about both solutions, just so everybody knows what we're talking about here. First of all, most of you probably already know this or have garnered it from the beginning of this presentation, but SalesNexus is a combined CRM and email marketing solution. So one way to think about it is like Salesforce.com and Constant Contact all combined into one solution that's easy to use for salespeople. And as one of the unique features that we'll show you in a little bit is, like Michael talked about, that you can send out campaigns, and the people that click on the links in your emails automatically generate a notification for your sales team to give them a call. But of course, there's also analytics, so you can analyze your campaigns overall, and automated management of bounces and opt-outs and all of those things that you would expect in a full-blown email marketing solution. And Forrest, why don't you give us a quick overview on LeadFerret.
Yeah, and again, LeadFerret, the whole premise and why we built the solution in the first place, been in this industry for over 10 years myself. Really, it all goes back to what Michael was saying a few minutes ago about efficient prospecting and lead generation. And one of the ways that he's been able to use LeadFerret to do that is by sending the email, then making the call afterwards. And that makes him more efficient and more productive every hour that his team is spending on the phone. So we sort of realized that there was this problem with efficiency within prospecting across the boards, from small companies which didn't have the budget or the wherewithal to acquire bite-sized pieces of data to execute prospecting efforts against daily, all the way up to Fortune 1000 sales reps who had to constantly do a song and dance with their marketing department to try to get access to any of the information that they were spending a lot of money on. So we realized that people needed easier access at a lower price, ideally free, to more B2B leads and more B2B records with complete information. So when you go out there in the market, you'll typically find that there are either sources that have a lot of data and a lot of information with every record, but they're very far from free, or they have they're free, but they have very little data. Maybe they don't show you the email address, something of that nature. So what we've done is built a solution that gives you all the data for 10 million records, completely free to search and view. If you have a SalesNexus account, which is of course what we're talking about today, then you can transfer 500 records a month for free as well. So that you're basically getting zero cost, complete and accurate B2B leads. And outside of that, the only time you would actually pay for a LeadFerret is if you want to download the data to a spreadsheet. So that's the premise behind LeadFerret. Again, we're constantly growing our database. So this slide says 5 million business contacts. We actually have over 10 million business contacts now. We also have deeper data within each record than most alternative sources out there. For example, we have social media links for a lot of the records. In other words, when you find a prospect, you say, wow, I'd really like to pitch this guy, sell him my product, my service, whatever it is, you can actually look at that person's LinkedIn profile, their Facebook profile, their Twitter profile directly from links within our system to really get a sense for what makes that person tick, what are they involved with, a little bit of their biography and background, and that's, we find, immensely valuable for very quick and efficient prospecting, whether you're working on a call-by-call basis or running a small email marketing campaign and then following up with calls after that. I could literally go on for hours with all the features and functionality and everything that we feel we bring to the table, but that's hopefully a relatively quick overview.
Yeah, that's great. Forrest, real quick, one of the questions that's come in that is important, and now's a good time to address it. Are all emails and phone numbers validated in LeadFerret's database?
Yes, absolutely. They're not only validated, and I think we of course make them readily available for free to anybody who creates a free account. So you can certainly test that for yourself as well. But they're not only validated, but we actually give you insight into the validation of those records. In other words, we actually assign a quality score to every record based on how recently we've tested the phone number, how recently we've tested the email address. And we not only allow you to see that quality score for every record, but we also allow you to search and sort by it. So you can, there may be hundreds of thousands of business executives within your target audience, but you really don't have the resources to follow up with all of them via email and or phone. So you might just want the top 10% in accuracy so that you can really, again, coming back to that key objective, make your prospecting more efficient by reaching only and targeting only the best prospects based on firmographic and demographic information, but also the best prospects based on accuracy of data as well. Of course, then if you want a really large quantity of data, you can select slightly lower quality scores as well, and that's a 1 to 99 scale or 0 to 100. And so you could literally select records with just a 90 or above quality score if you wanted fewer records but of a higher quality, or you could go down to, say, 70 and above if you wanted a larger quantity, realizing that some of those records may not have been verified, within days, might be weeks or months. But definitely, we encourage everybody to just take a look at the data, run some test searches, test it, and I think you'll be very happy with what you find from an accuracy perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I should say we, a couple of years ago, decided that we wanted to partner with somebody in the business that LeadFerret is in, and we went looking for a partner. And we investigated lots and lots of providers, some of the big names that you're all familiar with, and performed tests on each provider's data. And we found LeadFerrets to be as good or better than anybody else that we tried, including all the big names. So I think what Forrest has said is absolutely true from my personal experience. A few other questions have come in that I want to just touch on real quick. How do you avoid coming across as a spammer? That's a great question, and Tony, we're going to that's the latter part of this presentation. That's exactly what we're going to show you how to do. So bear with us a little bit. Barbara asked, can you provide an example of an email campaign? And yes, absolutely. We're going to get to that in a few minutes. And Dexter's asked, can we get one-on-one assistance to start using these services? You betcha. As a SalesNexus subscriber, you get unlimited support. You won't find anyone in the CRM business that provides the kind of support that we do. I would challenge you to try it, and I think you'll be impressed. And let's see, then Ryan's asking a question. Can we search contacts by employer? Like, in other words, by company name? And yeah, absolutely, Ryan. You're going to see that in just a few minutes. We're going to do a demo. You can do that and then some. Okay, so a little bit to Tony's question and to a question that I'm sure is on everybody's mind. The question of what kind of emails is it appropriate to send these contacts? And, LeadFerret provides business contacts. So we're mostly catering to B2B marketers and sales teams. And the way I look at it personally, and Forrest, you may chime in on this, but you're going to be more concerned about being a spammer than I'm going to be about you being a spammer, if that makes sense. Because those are relationships that are very important to you, right? And so you don't want to send purely promotional emails over and over again. That's not going to get you what you want. You may be marked as spam, number one, which would cause a problem. We might have to shut you down and so on. But the more important consequence is that you're not going to create a lasting relationship with your customer. And that's where content marketing comes in. It's kind of a buzzword right now. Can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But today we're going to focus on content marketing via email. So when I say that, what I mean is creating engaging content that your audience finds helpful, informative, or entertaining. So in other words, they're going to look forward to it. They won't be annoyed by it. It won't be an issue, right? That's the key. We're going to show you today how to create email campaigns that are engaging and your audience wants to get. So
yeah, and I would add to that, Craig, and just say that the real simple test that I've always used up front is does what you're sending them give them the opportunity to, does it add value to them or give them the opportunity to obtain some information or resource regardless of whether they purchase from you or not? And if the answer is yes, then you're on the right track. If the answer is no, you might want to rethink it. So that's sort of a rule of thumb that we've always used. Is there value beyond just buying your product in
Right.
what you sent them. And at the same time, you have to balance that with, does what you're providing them with, does the information or content you're providing them with also help your sales cycle? That's important as well.
Right, right. Yeah, so a lot of our customers have, some struggles with getting started with this because, we're business owners, we're salespeople, we may not be great copywriters or marketing messaging type folks. And so it can be a little uncomfortable getting started. So what we've done is we've come up with a system that's kind of a step-by-step approach to putting together a campaign that does exactly what Forrest just said. The idea is you create 5 educational or content pieces to email to your target contacts. In other words, the contacts you just got out of LeadFerret. Then, so that's going to be one campaign you're going to send. Then you also come up with 5 qualifying questions. So when somebody gets engaged with the content that you've seen them or sent them, then let's find out if they're really a qualified prospect for you. We want to have 5 questions to sort of profile them. And if they pass the bar via those questions, then your salespeople go to work. And then we create another campaign that's 5 FAQ emails. In other words, the questions that qualified prospects that are considering a purchase always ask you. And we all know what those are in our businesses. And so we're going to use those emails to sort of nurture them through the funnel. So what we're doing is we're using the content pieces to find the interested prospects. We're setting kind of a high bar so that people that aren't really likely to buy are not going to be wasting time with wasting your salespeople's time. And then once they get into the funnel, then your salespeople can do what they do and be supported by a separate email campaign. So the way that works is you have these several emails going out that are purely educational, informational in nature, and that when people receive those emails and they look at them and then they click on the link to read the article, then our system lets you know that. You get an alert. Hey, this guy just clicked on the link to read the so-and-so article. And so that's how these prospects sort of self-identify or self-qualify. Then we ask them a few qualifying questions to see if they're really a prospect. And then we put them on a separate campaign of these FAQ emails and help them move through the funnel and turn into closes. So the first thing that we have to do in this process is we got to identify who we're targeting. And for some businesses, you might have multiple different markets you go after, and obviously that means you may end up with different campaigns for those different segments, right? And once you've done that, you can go to LeadFerret and start finding contacts, right? So at this point, Forrest, why don't we get into LeadFerret and show everybody a little bit about exactly how it works. I'm going to pull it up here on my screen. I should have already logged into it, but...
Okay, great. Yeah, no problem.
Just kind of... if you want to maybe walk me through an example, I'll just... you can guide me.
Sure, let's just do a real simple search that might be similar to what somebody in our audience today is looking for. And by the way, if you've seen this already, we have made changes to it. We've improved the process, made it simpler to transfer large quantities of records from LeadFerret into SalesNexus. So even if you've seen this before, watch closely because there are some new things you'll want to see. Okay, so let's just run something really simple in the title field. Let's say type in human resources. Let's say that we have that you're particularly interested in selling a software solution to human resource contacts. Maybe manager, director, VP, and C-level contacts. As you see there, you can actually sort by the level of contact as well. Oftentimes people like to work with what we call decision makers, which is some subset of all those title levels there. Scroll down a little bit, and while we're scrolling down, I just want to mention really quickly that you can see the quality score there. It's currently set to 50 by default. You can raise that up to 90, 80, 70, whatever you want to reduce the quantity and increase the quality of records that you will get back. And then just to make the search really simple, let's say that, let's select a state there and say that this person just happens to be looking for only sales or only human resources decision makers in, I don't know, any state, Georgia, Florida, Hawaii, anything along those lines. And as you can see, there are a bunch of other search criteria that you can use. You can even search by radius from a given zip code if you want stuff just close to your office. We could literally spend the whole webinar just on how to run searches within LeadFerret, but we're just going to quickly run these results. If you want to go ahead and hit the search button, Craig, and when we get these back, you'll see a complete list. Not supposed to have that.
Let's see. Try that again.
You'll see a complete list of companies and contacts. Okay. Let's try instead of typing in human resources, try just clicking on the HR button, Craig. I'm not.
Okay.
Murphy's Law, I guess, is hard at work because I was just running this and it's running fine.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you guys always say it's a beta site, and you know, from time to time I've run into a couple of problems, but generally it works great, like this. So there we go. 8,476 contacts. Wow.
So these are just HR decision makers in the state of Florida. Just to show people what they get, if you want to just click on one of the names real quick, Craig. And this is the details that you can actually get all of this totally for free on the site in the format that you see it here. You can search and view it. You can see there's a link to the Facebook profile, to LinkedIn profile, and email, phone number, everything you see here. Okay, let's go ahead and close this. And then at this point, you would want to transfer these contacts into your target contact list. I'm sure Craig already has a lot of contacts in his target contact list, but let's scroll up to the top, or not to the top of the page, but just scroll up a tiny bit, Craig, and let's say add first 200 records to target contact list. So we're just going to take the 200 records right off the top, add them to our target contact list, and then we'll go to the target contact list itself, which you scroll all the way to the top of the page. So those 200 records have been added to your target contact list. You can build any size target contact list totally free. You never pay unless you want to download or transfer to SalesNexus, and of course your first 500 transfers to SalesNexus are free. So we go to the target contact list. This is sort of like a shopping cart. We've taken these records, set them aside as records that we want to be able to come back and view at any time or transfer or download, anything like that. Okay, so now let's assume that we only had those 200 records in your target contact list as opposed to the 4,800 that you have, and we want to now transfer them to SalesNexus. And this is a feature that many of you may not be aware of, is you can actually, again, just type in transfer first 200 to SalesNexus, and we click that button, and then that begins the actual transfer process. Now, when we get to this page, you can see on the left-hand side, we're prompted to enter our SalesNexus account information, which is our database ID, username, and password, which we would have received from SalesNexus support. Even if you are simply setting up a 30-day free trial with SalesNexus, you have this information, so you can literally not only get free data from LeadFerret and transfer it to SalesNexus, but you can actually even be starting with a free trial at SalesNexus. Now, on the right-hand side, you can see a complete history of all Craig's transfers. So it allows you to see on what date, how many records you've transferred, It even allows you to see how many credits you have available. In other words, how many more records you have available. And in the far right column of that history, you'll see date of restoration of credit. So you'll actually see the date at which you'll be able to make more transfers and how many more transfers you'll be able to make. I'm going over it real quickly. We would be, of course, more than happy to go into greater detail with anybody who so desires. So let's go ahead and transfer these records. And now you actually get to see the full transfer process at this point. It not only shows you how many contacts you've transferred in the past month, the total selected contacts for transfer, which is 200 in this case, your monthly transfer limit, the records you're about to try to transfer, but also as it transfers each contact, it's checking the list of 200 contacts that you want to transfer against the records that are already in your Sales Nexus account. So this would only be, of course, relevant on your second, third, fourth, and so on transfers. On your first transfer, it wouldn't be an issue. But it'll actually tell you if it finds any duplicates with what's already in your Sales Nexus account. So you may have a couple thousand prospects or clients that you're going to load into your Sales Nexus account initially, and the beauty is you never have to worry about duplicating those records by transferring data from LeadFerret into your Sales Nexus account, because it checks every single record one by one to make sure that they're all unique, that they have not already been transferred, or that they don't exist in your Sales Nexus account at all, even as part of a separate upload that you may have done from a previous CRM solution or from your offline address book.
Yeah, well, that's transferring. Let me jump over here, and I've transferred some earlier today. So now I'm in Sales Nexus, and I'm on my dashboard. So you can see right here, I've set up a little dashboard so I can see where different leads came into our system. So if I want to see all my LeadFerret contacts, I click on the LeadFerret link there, and there's those contacts. So if I want to begin a campaign like we talked about for these 10 contacts, I just click on Oscar's record there. It brings me to his record, but those 10 people are basically what we call your lookup, your current list. So I want to schedule a campaign. So I'm going to go over here to schedule a campaign, and you can see now of all these different campaigns that we've set up in our system. So I have a call prospect series. So if all I want to do is have my salespeople call these contacts, I can schedule a campaign that's going to remind them to call each and every one of them several times over the next couple of weeks. You can see that here. Or I can have a purely email campaign. So we have an ebook that you can download on our site, and when you download that campaign, or I'm sorry, when you download the ebook, we schedule this campaign. Then we have our cold series, and that's our sort of content series like we talked about before. So it's all articles and white papers and educational pieces that we feel, if you're a salesperson, marketer, business owner, sales manager, and you get these pieces, if you click on one of them to read them, then we want to talk to you, basically. So if I want to schedule that campaign for all 10 of those leads that I got from LeadFerret, I hit current lookup, and I say schedule, and you can see right here, do you want to schedule the campaign for 10 contacts? I hit OK, and boom. Those emails are now all scheduled going over the next 60 days for those 10 contacts. So I could literally log off now and go on vacation for the next 2 months, and those emails are going out. I can come in and do analytics on that campaign. So I can come in, next week, let's say, and whoops, clicked on the wrong button, and pull up analytics on that campaign. So let me show you what that looks like. while that's coming up here, that's a campaign we use a lot, so it's probably churning through a lot of data. Probably could have picked a different one. So the system's always tracking whether the emails are opened or clicked on, right? And that's what you're seeing here. So for that overall campaign, what's the open rate? What's the click-through rate? If I want to, I can drill down into a specific time that I used that campaign. You can see it's all organized by date and so on. Or I can even drill down into specific emails. So there, you can see right here, there's 11 emails in that campaign. If I wanted to drill down into a specific email to analyze its performance, I can do that. But the power is really right here. So down below the graph, I can say, show me the recipients that opened that email, or more importantly, the ones that clicked on it. So I select that, and it's going to list those contacts for me so I can do something with them. So here comes back that list, 668 people. So if I say make that list my current lookup, now I can do something else with them. So let's say those are my content emails, the people that clicked on to read those articles, I'm going to call those now prospects. So I want to schedule for my salespeople to call those prospects. So I click Schedule Campaign again, and I schedule my Call Prospect series or campaign for those 668 people. And now my salespeople start getting in touch with them. But on a more day in and day out basis, you can set this up so that when those emails go out and people are clicking on those emails, try to show you an example here from one of the salespeople. Okay, here we go. So as a salesperson, my task list is where I go in Sales Nexus to see, who needs a call today, where my call reminders and follow-ups and so on are. And what happens is when people get these emails and they click on them, a notification automatically shows up for the salesperson. That's what you're seeing here, click notification. So Stephen got our email with the subject 52 sales management tips, and he clicked on it. Bill got our email, 5 ways to grow sales and profits by managing the pipeline, and he clicked on that. So my salesperson now just comes into the task list and starts making calls to these folks, and he can see on the task list and also in the notes what emails they've responded to. You can see here Bill has gotten several different emails from us, but only this one did he click on. So I can, when I get him on the phone, immediately start talking about what's in that article. So it really helps jumpstart the conversation as well. So let me go back to LeadFerret now, and let's just look at the results. You can. What I love about it, Forrest, is this right here, where I can see each and every one of those contacts got into my database. I don't have any questions about that. And what it's not showing you guys right now that I love is that if there was a duplicate, in other words, I selected a contact in LeadFerret that I already had in my database, you would see that right here. Instead of success, you'll see duplicate. So you really know exactly what happened and exactly what was added to your database.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that a lot of small businesses and marketing people and salespeople, even at larger businesses, struggle with acquiring new data without acquiring duplicates to what they already have, and this just makes it so easy for you. It does it all for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of people asking about the templates themselves. So let me just real quickly go, and I'm going to pull one up and let you guys take a look at that.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Craig, just very quickly, as you know, we're not only a Sales Nexus partner, but also a Sales Nexus user. And obviously, whether we're talking about the steps that we went through in LeadFerret or the steps that Craig is going through in Sales Nexus, I can tell you they have an outstanding support team, and they will walk you through click by click, step by step, everything that you need to do to execute these campaigns. They've got great weekly training sessions. So don't feel like you have to get it all in this webinar in order to use LeadFerret and or Sales Nexus, play both together, because we'll be happy to walk you through the LeadFerret steps. Sales Nexus will be happy to walk you through the steps involved on their end as well. And I think it's fair to say that what Craig is showing you within the Sales Nexus solution is really just some very basic features that have their own.
Yeah, it's a good point for us. We don't have time to really get into a full-on demo of either system today, but and we're focusing today on email marketing, but Sales Nexus is a full CRM solution that does all of the things that you would expect to manage customer relationships and sales processes. And we'd be happy to show you that in a one-on-one demo, or there's also videos on our site where you can see that. But I pulled up this email. This is actually one of the content emails that we use a lot. And you can see, if I just got off the phone with Bill and just want to send him some kind of follow-up, I can have a template for that, and I can say, you know what? I want to know when Bill clicks on that email. So I'm checking that notify click. And that way, I just had a great sales conversation with this guy. I want to know when he goes back to that email and starts reading the article he and I talked about. Now I'm going to know. It's going to be on my task list. Or I can say current lookup and now send it out as a blast to 50 or 500 or 5,000 people. Let's see. So we're kind of running low on time here, so let me get back into the slides a little bit because I want to give you guys a little bit of a roadmap to how to get started with this. So let me turn the slides back on. So our concept here is, as salespeople, and that's really who we deal with primarily, as sales organizations that want to use email to add to their sales process and to nurture leads and customers. So you know what the pains, quote unquote, are that your product or service solves for your customers. Generally, a lot of you probably read a lot of sales books, been in sales training, and pain is something that's talked about a lot. What is it that's wrong in your customer's world that your product or service is going to fix for them? So what you want to do is write down 4 or 5 of those things, and that becomes the outline for the content pieces you're going to write. So if one of your pains is, if you're a potential customer for Michael, one of your pains might be, my salespeople just, they don't have enough prospects to close. We don't have enough new leads coming into the system, right? So one of my content pieces might be titled, 3 ways to find new prospects for your sales team, right? So when I get that email, if that's something I'm worrying about, I'm going to read it. And when I read it, Michael will know about it, and his people will call me and set an appointment, and the whole dance unfolds. And so that's kind of the idea. It could be the piece itself could be a blog post, could be a white paper, could be a video, an ebook, could be lots of different things. And we're going to show you some quick tips in a little bit on some things you can do that don't even involve creating your own content. The idea is you don't include the whole piece in the email, just maybe a little synopsis or teaser, and then they have to click a link to go to your website or something, or download a PDF to get the full article. And that's how you know they're interested, right? They clicked, and Sales Nexus tells you about that. So here's an example. We looked at something like this a minute ago. You can see, very simple. Didn't put a lot of writing into the email itself. The key is knowing what that pain is that you're trying to hit for your prospect, and having a good article that they're going to enjoy when they click that link. So here's some tips. If you're not a great writer or just don't have the time, which is very common, then first of all, you want to schedule some time to work on it, because it's one of those things that's easy to procrastinate and you kind of just never get around to it. So put some time on your calendar and focus on it, and you'll be surprised at how much progress you make in a short amount of time. But then you can also start looking for articles on other sites. There's nothing wrong with sending an email that says, hey, I saw a great article on the Wall Street Journal site. I thought you'd find it interesting. It's about blah, blah, blah. Or video a customer, interview them about, what was wrong in your world before you started doing business with our company, and how's it improved now. A simple way to think about doing the headlines and the subjects and the calls to action and all that is just, X number of ways to avoid pain number 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, right? Those pains that you've outlined, that's what people want to hear. I'm going to show you in a few steps how you can fix this thing that's keeping you up at night. Customer stories and case studies and testimonials are always great. Comparisons of you and your competitors or other options that they may have are good. And book recommendations are another good one. That, you can go to Amazon, do a little research, and suggest a few books.
Another resource that we like to use, Craig, internally ourselves, is just if you're the salesperson trying to run these campaigns, or the sales manager or the marketing manager, or you're an individual, ask other people to help you with the content within your company, colleagues, people that you know are experts on a certain subject. Can you give me a couple paragraphs on how to do X, Y, Z, or why people should be concerned about this or that? So I would say from a content perspective, don't be afraid to, if you're coordinating and executing the whole campaign, don't be afraid to ask other people to contribute some content as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you want to have some qualifying questions, because one risk with this approach is that you could send out emails and have a lot of people clicking to download or read an article, but they may not be great prospects. And you don't want to waste your salespeople's time. If they're out there doing prospecting now and all of a sudden they get distracted calling all these people that are clicking, but it just turns out for some reason that the people that happen to be interested in that article don't tend to be buyers or something like that, which you never know until you try it. You want to make sure you qualify them right up front and you don't waste a lot of time with them. Don't run off and buy a plane ticket to fly to New York to go see this prospect before you qualified them. So be careful about that. Most of you probably know how to do that. And I should say, since we're kind of running low on time and I'm going to have to jump through several of these pretty quick, we are going to be doing a course specifically on this approach in January. So you'll be getting an email with some information about how to register for that course. The FAQs, the idea is once you've qualified them, people have clicked the link in the content email, your salesperson has qualified them, now we put them on an email campaign that's going to answer those questions that we know they're going to ask before they ever write a check. We all know what those questions are in our business. It's things like, how long does it take to set up? What happens if I'm not happy? What are my customer service options? Do you offer support? Do you have a refund policy? How long does it take to get it delivered? How hard is it to install? Those kind of questions. Create an email for each one of them so they're going to have the answers before the next time your salesperson calls them. So these are the 5 steps. Define your target. Define your customer's pains. create your content, develop the qualifying questions, and develop the FAQ emails. As I mentioned earlier, we can help you with this. We're going to, in January, be introducing a course specifically on how to implement these concepts. But I want to make sure that we've got plenty of time to answer a few of the questions that have come in. There's been some great ones. I've been watching them. But just real quick, remember, you can get this all started yourself. Your LeadFerret account is free. You can go set that up today. You can also set up a Sales Nexus free trial, and you'll be able to use the system full-blown for 30 days. So in your first 30 days, without spending a dime, you can go to LeadFerret and download 500 contacts and start sending emails out of Sales Nexus and see what happens. Once you get beyond the 30 days, we have packages from $55 per month per person up to $75 per month per person, and that all of those packages allow you to send up to 50,000 emails a month. So next steps, be sure and join our upcoming content-based email marketing workshop that I mentioned earlier. Get your LeadFerret account set up and start your free trial of Sales Nexus. Any other comments you want to make for us before we jump into some of the questions?
Sure. I just want to let everybody on the webinar today know, and this is the first time we're letting anybody within our user audience know, but let them know that we are about to, at the request of many of our users and our mutual LeadFerret users and Sales Nexus clients, we're about to roll out a premium service that will allow you to transfer more than 500 contacts per month from LeadFerret into your Sales Nexus account for a very nominal fee. So if that sounds like something that anybody on this webinar would be interested in, please do let me know. We have not yet launched it, but if you're interested, I can definitely let you be one of the initial sort of beta testers of that premium service. Again, very simple. You pay a real small fee per record, and you'll still get all 500 for free every month. But if you might want, 5,000 more, as some people have expressed to us, and you'll be able to do that for just pennies a record in the very near future. So again, if anybody's interested in that, please do contact me at fcassidy@leadferret.com, and I'll give you more details.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I mean, it's a great way to build up a target list very affordably and very quickly, which some people spend tens of thousands of dollars doing over, months and months or years and years.
And even worse, some people don't do it at all because the tasks involved are so overwhelming or intimidating, or you're not an expert at list management or deduplication, stuff like that. So even worse than overpaying is doing nothing. And hopefully we can help you address both those issues.
One of the questions that came in here, and I know exactly how I would answer it, but Forrest, I'll throw it to you. It says, your opinion on using this solution versus other marketing automation tools like Marketo and Eloqua and some of the more expensive marketing automation packages. Do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, definitely. The first and foremost, exactly as you just said, very expensive. It will cost you. It's very expensive to use those solutions. When you really look at the whole picture here, and I don't mean to make this sound too much like a sales pitch, but when you really look at the whole picture, you're getting email marketing, which includes automation, and CRM, and fully integrated free B2B data, all for about $40 a month. And that's usually any one of those components is going to cost you more than that. And if you're looking at a real enterprise-level marketing integration like Marketo, you know, I haven't checked their prices recently, but certainly you're paying much, much more than that. So, you know, we're talking with the partnership and the combined solution that we have here, you know, we're talking about pennies on the dollar compared to most comparable solutions. And still, even with that massive price difference, we're beating most of them in many key areas. Ease of use, definitely Craig and his team are beating almost anybody you'll find out there on customer support, and the breadth of the data that we provide within each record, the functionality of the search tools. So I would say, you know, start with the difference in price and the fact that we'll allow you to try it all for free, and then if you've used those solutions in the past, then as you work through campaigns using LeadFerret and SalesNexus, you'll see the difference in functionality as well.
Yeah, and what I would add to that is the real difference in functionality is really just that it's all in one system. You know, there's a lot of different systems out there for marketing automation, but if you're a sales team and ultimately most of your customers buy only after working with a salesperson, then you end up with these two different solutions. One that your marketing people use for marketing automation and one that your salespeople use. And the two things never really work that great together. And so this kind of total automation of the process that we've talked about today, you really can't do unless you got somebody that's willing to spend a lot of time every day moving data around. You know, with our system being able to just alert your salesperson, hey, Michael just clicked on your link, then that's something that with most other solutions, somebody would have to go manually move information from the marketing system to the CRM system in order to do that. And of course, we all know in most businesses we're too busy, and those kind of things just don't get done. Tony's asking another question here for us. He just wants to know about the transfer process from SalesNexus to LeadFerret, and can it be ongoing while you're still working in SalesNexus or LeadFerret on other projects and things like that. And I know that I can go to LeadFerret and start a transfer, which sometimes, depending on the volume of contacts, might take a few minutes. But while that's going on, I'm in SalesNexus making calls and sending emails and doing my thing, and it all works seamlessly.
Yeah, and you can definitely open, you know, you want to keep that page open where the transfer is active, but you can certainly open another tab and start running other searches and performing other tasks within LeadFerret as well. So, yeah, it does take a few seconds or a second or two per record to transfer, but that in a way is a good thing because you know it's checking every record one by one to see if they're duplicates or not with existing records within the SalesNexus system. So it takes a couple minutes, which you can let it run in the background on a different tab. Just make sure you keep that window open. But it's a good thing that it takes a couple minutes because it's doing a very thorough check.
Right. And we're a little bit past the top of the hour here, so we better wrap it up. But the other thing that a lot of people have asked about is, you know, getting a copy of the presentation and so on. And so just so everybody knows, you're all going to get an email tomorrow that will include a link to the slides and a video recording of the presentation itself. So you'll be receiving that tomorrow. And you know, feel free to forward that on to colleagues and friends. And it'll also, of course, include links right to sign up for LeadFerret and SalesNexus both. And then before the end of the year, we'll be sending you an email inviting you to our content-based email marketing workshop that'll happen in January. Okay, well, really appreciate everybody's time, especially appreciate Michael Halper for joining us and contributing his experiences for us. Thank you very much your input. Anything else you want to add?
Oh, I could add a lot more, you know that, Craig, but I think we've covered as much as people want to listen to today. So, thanks for having me, and thanks for the nearly 100 people that attended. Great turnout as always, and I would just say follow up, ask questions, have us walk you through one-on-one, help you out. We're here to help. We really are on a mission to make especially the prospecting end of sales more efficient, and let us know how we can help you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thanks a lot, Forrest, and thanks again to everybody. And hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season, and we'll be in touch with you via email in the very short term. Thanks a lot.